Hey folks, today we'll be looking at my first draft for an APL script that you can put into something like Raidbots that will see your best year in stats. We are talking here a script for a Resto Druid DPS. While it's not perfect yet, it does give a good idea of our rotations depending on our affinity choice, so I'll go through all aspects of it. This won't be in guide form, we'll just go through each step to learn the optimal rotation. The script is in the description, so let's get started. So the starting layout for this script was Torties from BFA, it's linked in the description, and do note that the script that I've got here currently only supports Convoke the Spirits for the Night Fae. The start is the same as everything before combat remains identical, so we have the flask, food, the runes, starting in cat form, and then every time it's available you're going to be using these ones here. So at this point here, after we've used the use items like your trinkets, then we're into the run action list, which depends on which of the three you're going to trigger. So if you have the feral affinity talent, you're going to run the feral list. If you're a balance affinity, you'll run the balance, and if not, you're going to be running just the traditional one. So first up is the neutral line, and it's simply just use Sunfire if the target doesn't have it or it's refreshable, Moonfire the same, and then Wrath otherwise. It's just the three easiest abilities you have for your non-specific rotation. Next we're going to look at the balanced affinity. Now firstly it's maintain Sunfire and Moonfire. Then it's Heart of the Wild, and you want to use Heart of the Wild after you've applied your dots to the target. Then we have a shifting into Moonkin form here. Now this is mainly just to make sure that you are shifted into Moonkin so that you can use Convoke the Spirits as Moonkin. Now the script doesn't really need this because your Heart of the Wild will shift you anyway into Moonkin, so it's not the most important line. Now we have here Convoke the Spirits before Star Surge. The difference here is very minor, like only a few damage points, and it varied depending on the soulbind that you were using. However, in AoE scenarios, Convoke the Spirits is much more powerful than Star Surge. So yeah, Convoke the Spirits before Star Surge is a good shout. Lastly is Starfire, which you're going to use if you are either in Lunar Eclipse, if Solar Eclipse is the next one, if any Eclipse is the next one, or if you have more than one target. Now it is better at the start of a fight, say on single target, to use 2 Starfires to trigger the Solar Eclipse than vice versa. These commands took a bit of getting used to, but luckily I just stole them off the regular balance script. Now I haven't included here other Covenant abilities. My thought for the 2 damage and cooldown ones is that you would just use them at the same time as Heart of the Wild. And as for Adaptive Swarm, probably again like after Sunfire and Moonfire. Feral Affinity is next on the list, and the start here is the same as Torty's BFA script. Rake while in stealth, trigger the auto attack, and then Sunfire and Moonfire. I'm going to be brutally honest with you, I'm not entirely sure what these extra commands do, but my guess is that they are designed to make sure that you cast Sunfire and Moonfire together, since you'll need to leave cat form to do so, and therefore you will want to use them both while you're not in cat form. Heart of the Wild is next, and note this comes after Moonfire and Sunfire, and you will have to keep using Moonfire and Sunfire during Heart of the Wild. Despite the fact Heart of the Wild does not buff these up, it is a massive DPS loss if you drop Sunfire and Moonfire during the Heart window. The next command concerning here is cat form if Convoke is ready, and then using Convoke. Now I tried this with if you were low on energy or low on combo points to see whether the energy or combo points that you get made up for delaying Convoke. It does not. You want to use Convoke as soon as you can once you're in cat form. It's the best ability to use in cat form. Then we have a minor part that's left over from Torty's script, which is just using Wrath if you're not in cat form and you don't have enough energy that warrants going into cat form immediately. In a real scenario, most of the time You won't ever be in this one because you'll just throw out a heal instead, but it's there because that's simming. Then we have shifting into cat form if your energy is high enough. Lastly, we have we're going to touch on Ferocious Bite. So here we have Ferocious Bite if you have more than 3 combo points and the time to die is very soon. If your combo points are 5 and if your energy is over 50, remember you want to use Ferocious Bite at over 50 energy, and the time remaining on Rip is over 6 seconds, and then the spell targets of swipe basically means that if there aren't enough targets, it warrants swipe instead. Now, the dot remains on Rip being 6 is fairly low. Most of the time, you probably won't ever need to use Ferocious Bite. The reason it's so low is because this script relies on Circle of Life and Death being used. And that means that Rip expires very quickly. Now, this is the one bit of the script that I'm still not entirely sure on, because there are definitely times when you will be able to use Bite and some that you won't, and I'm sure the 6 seconds, I tried it at like using it at 8 seconds, using it at 4, and 6 ended up being the best. However, it probably depends a bit on Heart of the Wild and your own gear. However, 6 seconds, 8 seconds, that's a good... You're not going to go too wrong if you refresh Rip instead at about 6 to 8 seconds. You certainly don't want to wait until like 3 seconds because you're going to be wasting some of Circle's power. Then we have Swipe if there's 5 or more targets. That's obviously moved down because it used to be 6 targets higher up, but Swipe doesn't hit 6 targets anymore, it only hits 5. Rip again if you have 5 combo points and Rip has got less than 6 seconds left, or less than or equal to 6 seconds left. Rake again just if you can. Swipe if you're on 2 targets before finally using Shred at the end. Now, the script's not perfect, it doesn't include other covenants yet, and as I said, the Rip refreshing time, and Rake as well to a lesser extent, is I'm still unsure on because you do enter, it's going to be enter humanoid form, it's going to be extremely complex, and far too complex for a scripting newbie like me. But this APL works on Raidbots, and these numbers and the orders are the best numbers I managed to get from simming. I simmed this multiple times with different scenarios using the same gear, and this is what I came out as the best rotation, so I'm fairly confident that any changes to this will only be exceptionally minor. Thanks for watching, and again thanks to Torty and the balance script that I also used to build upon. Links for both of those are in the description. I hope you enjoyed me simming Resto DPS. Now we just need tanks to take less damage so we can make the best use of our DPS.